Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jez Moyer. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Apple TV and Roku.
That's right. Today is Transformation Tuesday, and we are talking with some of the real housewives about how they have transformed their reality into lives that they love. So I know right now, right here, that everything, we're transforming at all points in time, that every cell in our body is transforming, the entire universe is expanding all the time. So we have the choice today to transform any area we want from the body, mind, and spirit.
Absolutely. One of my favorite experts in transformation, though she'd call herself sort of more of a mindfulness expert, is Ellen Langer. And she talks a lot about noticing what's new in your life. So I love
what's
that.
New?
What's new? Well, that's a great question. What is new, Erin? Everything is new.
Everything is new, right?
Quite literally, yeah.
This moment's new. My new computer that got swiped last night, that is all brand new. This is a new kind of all put together, different thing. I don't know. What's new with you, Jez?
What's new with me? An abundance of opportunity. I'm so excited for this new season that we're walking into, whether it's in fashion, beauty, entertainment. I'm just really excited to embrace the fall.
I love that. Yes.
I love that, right? I'm going to transform my whole life right now. I've decided. I'm cleaning out everything in my house, going to transform it all into very organized, just getting rid of anything that doesn't serve me.
Absolutely. So some of the housewives who have transformed their life through reality TV, right? We got Lizzie Rovsick, Gretchen Rossi.
Gretchen Rossi, you know, these interviews aren't new, but they are some of our favorites, and they've been great examples of transformation. Joyce Gerard, Ms. Eden Sassoon, all who are incredible contributors to the Focus TV community. We are hashtag community powered, and we're so grateful to honor the work of the Real Housewives. Stay tuned. We'll be
to Good Morning La La Land. We are so thrilled to have Eden Sassoon, extraordinaire, in the house. I'm so touched by your story. It's been incredible to just research and just feel all the things you've been through. Thank you so much for taking time out of your life.
No, I think this is my life. It's not
Right?
taking time out of my life. This is my life.
So first of all, you walked in and you're glowing.
Well, you know, Shay, I love you, Shay. She's really, honestly, one of the best makeup artists ever, because I have makeup on, but can you really see it?
No.
See, it's
No,
very,
it's
very
natural.
natural.
Very real, raw, edgy shade.
See?
So we want to dive into this with you today because
Thank you.
this show is really about showcasing inspirational stories and diving deep. And I know that you said, I want to speak my truth, right? And from sister to sister, my whole mantra is live my truth. So we're on board there. I want to know, we want to know, what is it that if you really want to truly dive in today about?
You know, thank you. That's an interesting question. You left that open. I think that there's so many ways we can go. I think that at 44, being single, really having a great fitness and yoga practice and Pilates, and for some reason I'm going back to being single.
Yeah.
But
It's an interesting place to be. Divorced, you have 2 kids, you're 44. How are you feeling being single?
sometimes I feel great. And other times I feel like I'm going to be that everlasting gypsy love. And I'm like, that's not actually bad. There's something to that.
I'm excited about that personally. I really am. I'll be honest with you. I've always dreamed of that. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
And why are we so set up to be raised this way? And I think our society does it backwards for me personally. I think that what you see happening is people getting married at a certain age, having children, having really hard times and not knowing how to do it because there's so much coming at us. We don't have the mindfulness and the practice to go through. How do we really communicate? Right. And then, bam, you're divorced. Which I'm grateful. I love my ex-husband. I think he's an incredible father. I love his wife, and we're one big happy family. We literally traveled together, and they're like, does that man have 2 wives? I'm like, no. Like, she gets him. But I think that, we can create what that looks like in our own way. And it's difficult.
Right. But don't you feel like, as a woman, that like we're so set up and programmed for codependency?
Yeah, and that's a big problem.
It's a big problem.
So earlier you spoke about that, and I am one. When I hear a woman who's in distress or struggling in a relationship or not in her power, because men have this. I'm an alpha female, so I have the opposite problem. I really try to go in and help in any way I can to guide her through that and what she's really feeling. And a good friend the other day, I walked into new Yoga Works, and oh my God, Eden, and I knew right away what she was talking about. They just had kids, bam. And I said, listen, whatever this is, it's going to be okay. Whether you're together or whether you're not. And you don't have to make a decision right now, because you could tell she was in panic mode. And it went obviously a lot deeper than that, but I kind of tried to let her know that you're just perfect the way you are without him by your side.
What was that like, learning that from you?
Well, let's see. I was drinking through a lot of it, and then 5.5 years ago, I stopped. And that's when the learning had to really settle in, when I lost my father and a relationship at the same time. To be quite honest, sometimes I think, how did I manage to get through that? And by the grace of God and my higher power, I just learned every step of the way. Once you give in and you release, and you really release, then the healing starts to take place, and then the energy starts to flow, and then you have room for all the magical stuff in this world that comes through. But you got to make that choice.
How did you make that choice? That is the scariest choice.
I woke up on the edge of my bed, thank God I was dressed, alone, and I heard my father's voice and my higher power, and they were just 2 men coming at me. Get up, get dressed, go, because I would hike every day and I'd walk. I feel like fitness, you walk through to get to this area, right here. You got to energetically get there. So I can't not exercise. So I would go hiking every morning, whether I was hungover, still drunk, or sober. And this particular morning, I started hiking, and I'm crying, and they were like, get there. I was in the car. I'm having these conversations. I'm like, oh my God, am I crazy? Am I still, and I met a woman on the mountain, and she happened to be sober as well, older, commented on my Nikes, and I loved Nikes at the time. And I was like, okay, God, are you talking to me? She's talking about my shoes. I'm crying. So and we just got into this incredible conversation. And as I left her, I was like, oh, it's going to be 5 o'clock in a couple hours. I'll feel better. And I ran into a friend of mine shortly after at the Canyon store, and I looked, I said, shit, this is a double whammy. He's been sober 15 years. I said, I'm ready. Let's go. Literally, it kept downloading and coming through me, and the more I'd get out of my head, and this spiritual side would just open, and I was present to it. I picked up the phone. I called my ex-husband, because he's the only man I have to, say anything to. And I said, I'm going. I'm getting sober tonight. He said, I have a meeting. I'm like, wait, what? I'm not on your time. I said, you know what, Nick, let's go somewhere else. Sorry, Nick, I love you. And we went that minute. And from that moment on, I've never, ever looked back.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow. So what does that mean for you when you say, speak your truth? Is that what your truth is? Is that what when you refer to speak your truth? Because there's a lot of people out there that says, what does that mean to speak your truth? Well,
that's interesting. So I can tell my story as many times as we need to speak truth. But what about in the moment? What about, I hate to admit it, but you know, I did do a season of Housewives. And how do you speak your truth in a crazy situation like that? And I really thought going into it that I could bring some of this there. Well, let me tell you something, that doesn't work. But how do you stay in your truth? Do you not say anything? Because that's what I chose to do most of the season. I just was like, you know, and then all of a sudden this, and I'm telling you, it just came out from nowhere, the truth. And it was something that I couldn't hold back. So I think if you tap into whatever that is, every moment you should be living in the truth.
I absolutely love that. I mentioned the spiritual teacher a lot, Osho, and he would always talk about the danger of deciding on one truth that you're going to live forever, because then you're never ready for the moment. The moment
it's consistently shifting.
Right. You're constantly calibrating and recalibrating.
Right.
For you, in this moment, what feels most true to you?
The three of you. Really grounded and present and like honored to be sitting with other like-minded individuals. I think that it's so important with everything that's going on in the world that this is our now, that this is hopefully the future. And, you know, because of the experience with certain things on TV in the past, it's heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking to watch, and it's heartbreaking to see other people go through it. And people out there watching it don't really understand what it does to your psyche and to your heart. It's just tragic. And so I think what you guys are doing here is absolutely just a gift.
Right.
This is my sanity.
I can see that.
There's so much insanity in my life and uncertainty. This is my truth. This is my opportunity, and I couldn't be more grateful to be sharing in this moment with you all today.
So there's a saying that as people are, you know, with more things, we have more responsibility.
Yes.
And I look at your life and I go, first of all, your father's story is so touching, that he was an orphan as a young boy, came from total poverty.
Nothing.
I can't imagine what it was like to grow up with a consciousness, an extraordinary human being that had to tap into that and to have all the blessings, and yet, you know, there's like people know you're still like human, you still have these things, and it's so relative as far as what's hard or not hard for somebody. And I just think that you have an incredible
story.
You
know, it's interesting because people, whether it be boarding school or wherever I go, like, oh my God, you are so kind and nice. I'm thinking, is that not normal? Like, are people not nice and kind? Well, you're so-and-so's daughter. So what? He's an incredible man. I should be nice and kind. And give as much as I can. I'm talking all across the board. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we are the same as everybody. So, you know, when I feel like sometimes people get stuck in this, oh, I watch these celebrities. Well, what is a celebrity to you? Because celebrity is someone who has a potential to change other people's lives and give back. And if that's not what you're doing, I truly believe that you're taking up space and this society is going in like the wrong direction, because you have the power to help change this world. So I'm not even going to go into some of the people that really have that power that should be doing more, but there's a lot.
Really, truly, embrace that. It's a huge responsibility.
Well, I think, you know, I love my dad. I love him more than anything, and he's always with me. And I think what he did for, you know, the world of beauty and fashion and even more, it goes way beyond that. The industry is sort of like, you watch that struggle. And to me, it's really sad. You watch a lot of healthy mindset and drinking and smoking and going out, and not what my father did and not who my father is. And the team he had back then in the 50s and 60s, these were powerful, inspiring, disciplined people. They don't mess around.
Very disciplined,
those are hard to come by nowadays.
So speaking of love, since it's Friday and we talk about love, how do you deal with that? How does any man, you know, rise to what your father was? Like, is that possible?
Here lies the problem in the gypsy lover. Well, so then I try to, like, you know, because I don't want to have to put somebody up against him. But then again, I think as a man, you should have some of those qualities. Like, I watch you and I see some of those qualities, and that's a beautiful thing. And so I'm not going to settle for somebody who doesn't have those qualities. Maybe you might not financially be as, you know, stable. You know, there's so many things, but I think just the humility, the kindness, the spirituality, the discipline,
the heart.
And then exactly. I call it heart. I was going to say the fierce just being that he is. No, he is. I think that if it takes a lifetime to find, otherwise I'll just, I love the journey of meeting new people. It's a dance. We flow, we learn, we talk, and then when that ends, there's another, because in every situation, obviously that's my lesson. And if I don't learn it through that person, that situation, that whatever it may be, then that's a disservice to me. So I try to get what I can, and then I kind of move on, and then I move on. It's just an ongoing journey of life. I was yesterday, because I'm on all the dating apps, all of them. I'm not kidding. And I'm okay saying that. And I see all the same people. I'm like, God, this isn't normal. I'm going to make my own. But yesterday someone said, let's go for drinks. I said, I don't drink. He said, oh, okay. And then he sent me a thing to come downtown. I said, did your mom not treat you right? I live in Studio City. Come. He goes, oh, okay, so I'll come to you. And then it went on, and I said, why don't we go to meditation? Because I just started my practice. And he said, why don't you go and I'll meet you after for tea? And I said, I'm sorry. You need to step outside of your box and live a little. Well, that's not something I do on a first date. I said, well, you go for drinks. You're 34 years old. Too young for me. Get over it. Do something different. Get exciting. It's just like the same. Let's go for drinks. I don't drink. Guys, wake up. Do something. Live. Do exciting. And I wanted to sit next to someone and feel their energy and just be in that space. And if someone doesn't go with me, it shows who they are.
You really embrace your femininity. There's such strength
I love
and power
you.
coming from this. How do you do that? How do you stay so strong and rooted within yourself?
I love that you said feminine, because I struggle with the fact that I am very on the more masculine side. I have that energy, but you know what it is? It's the feminine goddess who she is fierce. And the other side to her is the sister of, I hate to say it, but the word we all don't like, death. And she just goes in for the kill. And I have that in me too, to where I've had to really work on that and turned it into a really bright light, as opposed to that angry, vicious, she's in Thor. She's Thor's sister. I don't know if you saw, did you see it?
But that light is turned on. And for me, that's something that's really hard to, it's I keep that light off.
Why?
I don't
You're
know.
stunning.
I got to turn that
on.
Let's go. This weekend.
So we're running out of time, but I'm wondering for the people out there that are still struggling.
Yes.
Maybe it's with alcohol, maybe it's with depression, maybe it's with whatever.
With being single?
With being single, whatever that is. What would you tell them? Because I know in that moment, it's people.
I think that people get in their head about it, and the story plays over and over and over and over. And when you can get out of your head and into your space of your heart and energy and sort of feel it instead of think it, stay out of here. It does nothing good for us. Get in here and just let it be and see and be open to what's going to come to you, and then let the fear go, because the fear is not going to do anything but
Exactly.
See? So it's you just. And breathe. We don't breathe. And then another thing, this might sound stupid, but what's the first thing they do when you go to a hospital if you're sick?
I don't know. What?
They stick an IV in you to hydrate you.
Oh.
You need to stay hydrated. Life is better hydrated.
Absolutely.
It's a scientific fact. And nobody understands it. So we're running around like chickens with drinking coffee, and trust me, I've had to.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
I had to quit, but I started Bulletproof. Try that. So I think that just, getting centered, opening up, letting it go, and really just being mindful to yourself before you looking at everything out there.
Well, what's so incredible, your Pilates studio is now taking people on retreats.
Yes.
To start doing that. Tell us a little bit about
Well, I think through my journey and everything, some of the things we've talked about and more here, I need to pay it forward. And so through the studios, and I have incredible yoga, Pilates, every person that I come across, that I journey through, that I heal with, I now want to, do you want to go on a retreat? I'll bring my whole team and everybody. And then you have me, who's, you can tell, and I get in there and people are like, don't be scared. Let's do this. Let's open it. Let's cry, laugh, have fun together, and just start ripping those layers of what we've built for all these years, whether it's parents and school and boyfriends and Oh God,
Strip
stop.
it down.
Yes,
Strip it down.
100%.
Sign me up.
Well, we're excited to come check out the Pilates studio.
Oh, well,
gosh,
anytime, you guys.
absolutely.
I think that we should do a class, the 4 of us.
Let's do it.
I think we should bring the cameras, and I think we should talk Pilates.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Done, done, and done.
Los Angeles with Good Morning La La Land and the gorgeous actress, producer, and philanthropist Joyce Gerard. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for coming.
Amazing.
And
Thank you for
mommy.
being
Being here
Gorgeous
today.
Yeah, mommy's the best title.
Right.
In the universe.
So you have some amazing stories about how you met your husband and maintaining a successful relationship. Tell me about the moment you met him.
So it was a blind date, believe it or
Who
not.
set you up?
A blind date, believe it or not. A girl that neither of us really knew. I had met her
Really?
once. He met her once. She was dating a guy that used to work for him at the time. And she says, she calls me out of the blue. I met her once at a party, and she calls me out of the blue and says, I need you to meet this guy. And I'm like, no. I was like, I'm single by choice. I'm working on my career. And she's like, no, you got to meet this guy. And I said, no, I don't do blind dates. She lived in New York, by the way.
Okay.
And she tells me, I tell her, when you come to LA, naturally, organically, we'll all go to dinner. And she goes, no, I'm not coming to LA for the next couple months, so you have to meet the guy. And I'm like, no, you don't know me. You don't know what type of guys I like. I am not going to go meet him. No, he's a producer. And I said, oh, how cliche, just because I'm an actor. I have to date him. And she goes, you have to meet him. He is the man for you. You guys are going to get married. And I'm like, no. And I didn't trust her or nothing.
Wow.
She's not a matchmaker.
What made you change your mind?
I didn't. He stalked me for 3 months on the phone. She gave him my number. And when she gave him my number, I told her, you know what? Lose my number because you're so disrespectful. You gave the guy my number. And now here I have this guy calling me. And on the phone, he sounded, and we've been together 16 years.
Wow.
And on the phone, he sounded, I kid you not, like he was 100 years old. And I was like, this girl thinks I'm a gold digger. And then I just want to date like the famous old producer. And I was like, oh my God. And there wasn't Google back in the day. I wasn't even opening my computer. I had a computer that I won in the Miss Puerto Rico pageant. And I had it in a box because I thought, if I take it out, it's going to get old. So it was in the box. It was like, it's so cute there, my computer. So I wasn't techie. I'm still not techie. And he just called me every day. And by the time, every time he called, I was like, oh, it's the oldie, but he's so nice. I don't want to be disrespectful. And all my girlfriends would be like, oh, the oldie that's calling you. That's so, you know,
Sweet.
that's so
But you
screwed
kept
up that
picking
this
up.
girl. But I picked up and I'm like, hi, listen, I'm in a meeting. Hi, I have to wash my hair. Hi, I have period pain. Hi. I mean, I had every excuse in the book because, you know. But on the phone, he was so nice. I remember once telling one of my girlfriends that I wanted to hook him up with her because I was like, Lauren, this guy, if he was only at least like 50, I would date him because he is amazing. He's the kindest soul you can imagine. He's sweet, he's funny. On the phone, I liked him. I said, you know what, this guy's gonna be my friend for a long time, but I wanna keep it clear that I'm never gonna date him. You know, it's just, I'm not gonna, no.
But you really didn't know how old he was. He just sounded old.
He just sounded old, but I knew nothing about him. And by the way, he doesn't just get that from me. He gets that from a lot of colleagues in
He
the
must be a
business.
wise old soul.
Well, he's German, so
okay.
he talks, you know, he talks with this accent that he doesn't think exists.
So then what? So how many weeks to how long did this go
So
on?
3 months, he called me every single day, and for 3 months, I made excuses. And every week he made a party at his house just to have a place to invite me because I said, I even told him, there was a point where I even told him, look, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna go out with you. I don't do blind dates. I'm sorry. I like you on the, you know, you're very nice. I like you as a person, but I'm not gonna date you. So let's just keep it the way, let's keep it real. And he was like, so come to my party. I guess he was confident that if I met him, and I was like, no, yeah, what's the address? He made like 8 parties. I never showed up.
Wow.
And he always tells the story. He kept calling every day. And he would call me the day after the party. So I'm sad you couldn't make it, but I'll make another one next week.
Wow.
It's fine. He's like, I can do this forever. I can throw parties forever. It's fine.
Because he Googled, his friend that worked for him Googled and said, listen, this is the girl, you have to meet her. So he was like, oh yeah. He saw all the pictures and all this stuff and he was like, oh my God, when I saw the pictures, I just wanted to meet you.
Wow.
So then finally one day, I was coming back from New York from doing a modeling job. And when he calls me and I said, weren't you going to Germany? Are you on the plane? And back in the day, I thought, wow, how decadent. Lauren is going to love this guy. Yeah. You know, he's calling me from the plane. That is so nice. And he says, yeah, what are you doing tonight? And I said, oh, I'm just going to order in. I'm ordering Chinese. I love Chinese food. He goes, okay, I'll pick you up at 8. And I'm like, And it was just pure silence. And I had no excuse up my sleeve.
Yeah,
I was like, what am I going to, I was like, well, I need to unpack. Well, and he goes, I'll pick you up at 8. And I'm like, well, perhaps we should do a coffee. And he goes, coffee's BS, using the entire word. I don't want to curse right. He goes, coffee is BS, I'll pick you up at 8. And I'm like, okay, I'll just be really ugly so that he and then he's over me and I'll take Lauren's picture in my clutch.
We're potato sack.
I was like, I'll take Lauren's picture so that, wow, look at my glamorous friend and look at me. I mean, you got to date my glamorous friend. So he says, okay, I'll pick you up. And then I was really complicated. I said, no, you have to change the restaurant, just so that he would be turned off. Like, oh, this girl's complicated.
Oh my God,
So I
you
said,
were
you have
trying
to
to
change the
sabotage
I was
them.
so sabotaging it. And thank God, what God has in stock for you, it's for you, and nothing can sabotage it, even yourself. And when I'm looking from my apartment, I'm looking down and I see this big head of hair, and I call my best friend and I'm like, Oldie has a toupee.
You did not. You did not.
Oh no.
I'm like, oh my God, Oldie has a toupee. And she's like, oh my God, what restaurant are you going to? That is so embarrassing. And I'm like, oh my God, but he's so nice. You know, I don't have the heart to now cancel. And she goes, oh my God, just go to McDonald's or something. And I'm like, oh. So I go down, I'm like, okay, here we go. And I had zero makeup, hair in a bun, big fat cowboy jeans, flat cowboy boots, a wife beater, and a big jacket. So I looked like I was cleaning in my house.
No,
you know?
he probably loved it.
Right? He always says, this is my favorite look. You go back to that. So I come out, and when I see him, I'm like, you're you? And he goes, finally. And I'm like, I was like, oh my God, this is, you know, when you're a little girl and you imagine your perfect Barbie doll Ken, and you're like, this is the man of my dream. That was, and I just could not believe. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, and I got really nervous and I started shaking. And then we went to the dinner and I looked like crap. And then I went in the bathroom expecting any girl to give me mercy makeup. And not one girl walked in that bathroom. And this was at Asia de Cuba. So if you know the Mondrian, it's always packed.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Not one girl walked in. And all I had was my little rosebud, like a little lip gloss. And I said, okay, I'm going to become J-Lo. I'm going to put it all over my face. I'm just going to glow.
You did not.
I did. Oh, no. So I let my hair down. I'm like, let me fluff my hair because I had it in a bun. I put the gloss all over my face. And I'm like, okay. So I just walked out. And I'm like, oh, my God, I don't even have a bra. Like, be sexy or nothing. So I just went and we had the best conversation. We talked about our passions in life. I'm extremely passionate about charity, and he told me his mom has been doing charity her whole life. So I was like, oh my God, because when you are going to be with someone, you're going to be with their family too. You know, so, and that's just the way it is. You marry everybody, you know.
And now you've been married for 16 years?
We've been married, no, we got engaged immediately. We met in February. He proposed to me in August on his birthday.
Wow.
And he proposed right away. And then I said, you know what? We need to take our time, because I always believe that you can't just, I mean, nothing wrong with people that decide to get married right away. But for me personally, I always believed, you know what, we need to see if we are great living together. It's a different thing dating than living. It's a different thing.
Absolutely.
You know, let's just see if this is really a forever situation, because I don't want to get divorced. So let's just see if it's going to, I come from a single mommy that was divorced. So I didn't want that for my kids. So I was like, let me just wait. Let's just wait. And we lived together for a while. We were happier than ever. We never, thank God, knock on wood, knock on anything. We don't fight because we have the same north. We have the same vision in life and the same morals, and, you know, so thank God we're very compatible with that. So we lived together for a while, engaged, and then we got married. We've been married now 9 years.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's such a beautiful story.
Thank you. And 2 kids down the road. We are so happy. And I had really bad pregnancies, and I can't imagine another soul that would have shared with me that such a hardship that was brought into my life with my pregnancies, like my husband. He was there for me day and night. He supports all my crazy endeavors. He is just my everything.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
What qualities do you most love about your husband?
You know, when you were
Top 2 or 3.
saying, I was listening to you when you were saying kindness is so important. I love how kind he is. I love how genuine he is. I love how, in Spanish we say, no hacer acepción de personas. It's like not making anybody different. He makes everybody feel the same. And for me, being raised in Puerto Rico, that was something always important. In Puerto Rico, there's no class division, there's no color, there's none of that. I mean, I didn't grow up with that. You know, there's no, oh, you're black, oh, you're da. We're everything because we are life, we're love, you know, and that's what we should teach our children how to be. And I think that's what I love about him. He's kind, he's amazing.
I have a question for you then. For the women out there that are looking, they're going, they believe that there's somebody out there. They believe that story is what I think so many people desire to have.
Yeah, they want.
What would you say for people that haven't found that person that's just right for them?
I would say don't settle, like I said before, don't settle for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. Some guys also settle for Mrs. Right. Don't settle for a person that has come into your life and you're trying to make it work. If it doesn't work, it's not gonna work. So don't settle, just wait. You know, and be open to love, because also you might not be open and Mr. or Mrs. Right is coming into your life and you're not open. So it's all about timing as well. You know, you both have to be ready. But when you're ready, when you know what, I love myself enough to be able to give love, because the number one thing is you have to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, if you don't value yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, you have nothing to give. So you have to love yourself first. And once you love yourself enough to where you're ready to give that love, then just be open to find it. Let the right person come.
You know what's really interesting though is that so many people find the right person and it doesn't stay that right person.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that intimacy, maintain that relationship, maintain that feeling all these years later?
So people change. People, it's you know, it's human nature. Some people change. However, I do believe if you give yourself enough time to know someone, then you will know what they're really about. Right. Because some people, unfortunately, become something they're not just to make you happy. Right. Like I said before, you know, some girls do it a lot, some guys do it a lot. They become what they think you want them to be just to make you happy. So you have to give yourself time to know that person, time to see their ups and downs. Because life is not always going to be color pink. You know, you know that life is going to throw curveballs at you, and you have to find a person that is going to be strong enough with you to accept those curveballs and go navigate life with you. So you have to just get to know that right person. And if somebody changes, I tell all my friends, if it's not a healthy relationship, if it's not right, get away from it.
Such great advice.
Get away. I told my mother, Mommy, I want you to get a divorce. And when I was a very young girl, you know, and I think if it's not right, you have to be strong enough to step away.
Strong enough to let it go.
Yeah. We have to take a break, but I'm just, not only are you gorgeous, but you can tell an incredible story, and I'm blown away and with the beauty inside.
You're so beautiful. You all are.
Amazing, right? So when we come back,
I give it up to you guys. I just sit here and I just sit here and enjoy the beauty around me.
When we come back, we are going to hear the story behind your secret elixir and what keeps you looking so beautiful. Stay tuned. For Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jasmine Moyer. Monday through Friday, we are going to be streaming to you live, Los Angeles.
America's first live streaming daily talk show.
At 9 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
And we have a sexy show for you today.
We have got Will, Leanne, and Gabe in the house. Let's go back there. Hi!
Talked to 4 beautiful, intelligent, conscious women. Clearly, I was miserable the entire time.
She has a TV show similar to yours.
Ellen.
Yes!
Yes!
The little peck. Come on.
I feel so bad for Jess.
We're live. Do it for the people viewing.
For the people.
Wow!
M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E Club Mickey Mouse.
We definitely were not prepared today, and it was
Hang on, but the other half.
We are streaming to you live Monday through Friday on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Happy holidays.
It's going to be a good
Good morning, LALALAND.
5, 6, 7, 8. We are the Mouseketeers, and we proudly wear our ears. We mousin', we mousin', M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E Club Mickey Mouse. Good morning, LALALAND.
We're back live in Los Angeles with the gorgeous actress, producer, and philanthropist, Joyce Rod. And now we get to talk about the secret behind this gorgeous hair. So I want to know all about the Miracle Elixir collection.
Oh my goodness. Okay, how long do we have? I can talk for
Start at the beginning, because the story, when I was reading and doing my research, I found the story to be so beautiful. And you mentioned your grandmother and her oils. Tell us about that.
So my grandma in Puerto Rico, when we grew up, we were what people would consider very poor. I mean, I had two shoes. I had the shoes for church and I had the shoes for school. Maybe that's why I have a shoe fetish right now.
Making up for last time.
I know, right? I'm like, let me buy a lot of shoes. I love shoes. I think we all do. That's a girl thing, right? But when I grew up, we were very poor, but I never felt poor. I felt extremely rich. And like I was saying in the last segment, in Puerto Rico, we don't have that whole division, or we're not brought up to feel that you have less. As long as you have love, you have it all. And that's how we were when we grew up. So my whole collection, it's about love and nature. Because that's what we had in abundance. We might not have had the best shoes, but we had all the love and nature in the world. And my grandma would literally pluck from El Campo. El Campo is the mountains, because everybody thinks Puerto Rico, they think beautiful beaches. No, I grew up with the cows and the alu, my turkey, and the chickens, and so I grew up being a little farm girl in Puerto Rico. And my grandma would literally pluck from Mother Nature, and she would pluck a burrito and tell me, oh my God, this is literally the tree of life. They call it the tree of life because it brings life back to everything it touches. And this is what this does, and this is, so she would do all these potions. She would put, maracuya is my favorite fruit in the world. It's called parcha, AKA passion fruit.
Yes.
So she would just do all these potions and just in a pilon. A pilon is like a wooden thing that you smush things in. So she would just smush all these potions, and then she'd put it on my hair, put it on my skin. She'd be like, okay, Lassie, leave it there. They called me Lassie because of the dog. The dog was loyal, so they said she's so loyal, she's Lassie. So she's like, Lassie, leave it on, and you'll see. And she would just do this, and I'd be like, okay, do whatever you want, abuelita. Because I just loved her so much. I'm like, okay, she's crazy, but do whatever you want. And then I just kept doing it, and through my life, I kept doing my little potions, and my friends would be, what's your secret? What are you using? And I'm like, oh, my little potions that and traveling, then I fell in love with argan, and then I fell in love with moringa on a trip to Asia. So I kept doing potions throughout my life. And one day I said, why am I compromising? Why am I still doing these potions all these years later? Why am I doing this? And everybody kept telling me, oh, we want to attach you to this line. My people kept telling me, oh, somebody called, I don't want to mention who, because I don't want to mention everybody we turned down. But they called because they want you to be the face of this. They could call because, and I said, I don't want to be the face of something. I don't want to compromise and sell something I don't like. I want to sell something that I love. And then we went and we created it. I went to my lab and I said, these are my potions. Can you bottle it? Can you do it? And it all started with my miracle oil. It's my no compromise. We don't have it here because I'm sold out. So I don't have it.
She's gonna have
That's a good problem.
I have one in my bag. Because I always have it in my car, and so it's in my bag. If we can show it later. But it's my no compromise solution. It's 100% organic. It's what I use on my face. And then from there, we kept growing. And I wanted to do a shampoo that had great ingredients. I suddenly started realizing, you know what? When you use the wrong products, even if you are blessed with good hair, you're gonna have a bad hair day. And what girl doesn't like a good hair day? You know,
and what girl doesn't have 100 different products in her cupboard?
Yes.
I mean, I've tried a million different things,
Yes.
but it's difficult to find and know what really is working for
and
you.
you know something? Mother Nature has everything we need. So if you can combine Mother Nature infused with a little bit of science, with all the best of science that we've found throughout the years, throughout the centuries, hundreds and hundreds of years, then you can get the best of the best.
Couldn't
But you
agree
shouldn't
more.
have all these chemicals and all these bad things that people apply to their skin. You know, maybe initially you're gonna feel, oh, it's giving me an instant fix. But then in the long run, you're gonna realize, okay, this was not good. It's the same with your hair. My last product is a serum, and it took me forever, and my network, Evine, where I sell my products on home shopping, they were like, we need the serum, we need the serum. I said, you have to wait because it has to be perfect. I want something that is not weighing your hair down, but I'm not gonna compromise and have silicone because for the girls, you don't have this problem. For the girls, every girl knows that we love our serums. We love things that are gonna tame our frizz, things that after you come out of the shower, you put on.
Yeah, it weighs it down, it smooths it out.
You
Absolutely.
want things, but you don't want to lose your bounce. Like you have your beautiful curls, you don't want to lose that. So if you have something that is too oily, you're going to lose it. However, to not keep it oily, they can't leave just natural oils. So what they do is they fill it up with fillers, AKA silicones.
Wow.
What silicone does is it coats your hair. Silicone is a plastic. Nothing wrong with silicone for other things, but for your face, for your hair, it's a filler. What it's gonna do is it's gonna coat the shaft of your hair with a plastic, not letting it breathe. Therefore, it's just gonna break.
So do you use a curling iron or anything hot on your hair?
I do, because I work on camera a lot. So, you know, I always have a lot of people doing my hair, and I like to give them the freedom to do whatever they want. So some people want to do hot curlers, some people want to do. Right now, what I do is one of my little secrets. When I wash my hair, I put it up in a bun like this, and then I use one little tiny clip, and I let it dry. And if you do that, it's going to take a long time to dry, by the way. Mine takes a whole day. I have to wash it on the day before, a day that I have nothing to do the entire day, because it's going to be up there and the inside takes a long time to dry. But if you do that, if you have the time to do that on a weekend or something, trust me, when it goes down, you have that beautiful wave, you have that beautiful natural bounce.
And all this volume, my goodness.
Well, this is, everybody asked for this. This is really a miracle in a bottle. I mean,
Victoria's been raving about it.
It's really a miracle in a bottle. It's my hero product right now. Everybody's in love with it because it shows results. Everybody wants something that is going to make your hair good from the inside out. Something that is going to be good for your skin, for your nails. And this is it. And the reason also why it took long is because if you go to the pharmacy, anybody watching can go to the pharmacy and see. Every product that they have for hair, you have 5,000, maybe 2,000 micrograms of biotin, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's
what they 3,333% of what they recommend. And
yes,
you know,
we have 10,000 micrograms of biotin per serving.
Wow.
We have glutathione, which is amazing for the skin. We have resveratrol for anti-aging. We have my Pure 4, the moringa, the buriti, the maracuya, and the argan. So all the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fatty acids from Mother Nature. But what we have that sets us apart from anything is my hero product. It's Sinatine. And Sinatine is the first patented soluble keratin. And what Sinatine does is it literally attaches to your hair, making it stronger from the inside out.
Protein.
Yes, it's a protein. And in our clinical studies, our subjects had 35% more hair in 90 days.
I'm starting today.
Right?
Oh my goodness, right now. Challenge accepted. Well, you also have, I mean, the packaging is just beautiful. You have the Ageless Secret, and it's an anti-aging 24-hour hydration.
Yes, it's 24-hour hydration. It has SPF, because for me, SPF is very important.
It's crucial.
You young girls out there that, like me, believed you didn't need SPF and you could burn in the sun for hours, don't do it. Don't do it. If you're gonna do it, just put something that has you know, and a good SPF, and it's going to protect you from all these fine lines, and they do show up eventually.
Eventually.
So don't do it.
And also the Eye Revive.
The Eye Revive is amazing. The Eye Revive is, I mean, it's also genetic. People that have a little bit of dark circles. So what can you do to help it? You have to do everything, you know, you have to put everything you can that has good ingredients. And it reduces the poofiness. I call it poofiness. I love poofiness too. It reduces the poofiness. It reduces the dark circles because it has a brightening in it, and it gives you all the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that you need.
Especially with these early mornings on Good Morning LaLaLand.
Yes,
the
you need
dark
it.
circles and the poofiness. Yes,
the poofiness.
You need a bucket of that right there. Bucket. And Iggy Rodriguez, wherever he is, he almost wants a bucket of that. Yes.
I'm learning so much on the show, and it is so important because we've had like this. Well, do we have products? Do we have, you know, LA? We want it to be about lifestyle and wellness, and you know, all the goodness. And this is exactly what we've been talking about.
And you
like,
know what I love?
Organic, it's coming from an empowered woman. It's coming from all these things, right?
You really are the epitome of sort of why we did the show. And one of the things I love most, in addition to the product itself, is what it says on the bottle, which is because beauty is in you.
Yes.
I love that. It's beauty from the inside out.
Yes,
you know?
it's always been my motto. Beauty is only skin deep. It's really what's in your heart that matters. That's always been, I guide my life by it. My grandma taught it to me back in the day, and I could cry right now, but it's what I guide my life by.
So we are out of time again, but where can everyone find you, first of all?
Well, they can find my products on joycegerard.com, and they can find me on the Twitter. I call it the Twitter. I'm not so on the Twitter, on Joyce Gerard. And on Instagram, I'm Joyce_Gerard.
Okay, good. So when we come back, we have a little surprise. So stay tuned, you guys. You guys don't want to miss a little something we have in store. Los Angeles, and we have some of the favorite women, dynamic women. Victoria is one of our producers here, and we had to have her on set because she raves about these products, right?
No, seriously, I do. I seriously do. I told her when I saw her, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this up. You're like my hair crush. You're like my everything crush, but like, wow. Like
She's so beautiful.
Your hair is like gold.
You're so beautiful.
And you know, Victoria is the perfect person here to represent your product because every person that comes in says how gorgeous her hair is.
She has beautiful
and
hair.
she gives you all the credit.
No, I seriously do. So, okay, it's funny. I finished all the supplements that you gave me, but you gave Andy supplements, and he doesn't take them. So when I just give it to me. Okay, so he would just leave them in the studio. So what I did was I was like, Andy, you can't just leave these like. These are like, God, you can't just leave them hanging around the studio.
So you can
I
have
hid
these.
them.
Now
I
you
hid
can
them
have
in the studio. There's only like 4 left, honestly.
There you go. You guys can have
Yes.
these. You can leave them here. Every morning you take 2. Every morning you all take 2. I'm going to send you more.
You have no idea. With this much hair on the couch, I feel like I need to grow my hair out. I'm like, dude, I gotta grow my hair out now.
You look great.
Yeah.
You look like an afro up here.
I know. But the curls will be spinning though. You know. Yeah.
I love curly hair. It's so pretty.
I'm a little jealous right now.
Oh, I love
it's amazing.
it.
What do you use?
Yeah. What's that?
What shampoo do you use?
I don't even have to worry about
You
it.
were some-
It's so
you're
short.
Like, I don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah, I don't worry about it. I do have a question for you though. So I was reading an article about how important it is to store products, particularly products that are full of such great stuff like this, in the refrigerator. Is that something that recommend or no?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to
Oh, wait.
store it in the refrigerator because it's natural. And a lot of the things that you have to store in the refrigerator are things that are either not natural or that have a lifespan because they're going to die fast because it's like a fruit right in there.
Gotcha.
But if it's something that has been processed correctly and is natural, then it's not going to die.
Perfect.
Wow, holy cow. So, Victoria, I mean, really and truly, how long you been using it?
Okay, so I saw you November. It was like right before Thanksgiving, so I've been using it since then. But I used.
Look, and it's grown.
No, it really has. And this is kind of like a bad hair day. I really didn't straighten it all up.
It's not possible anymore.
I really do. Like, you see, I want every girl out there
No.
to I
didn't put as much effort into it as I normally do. That's what I meant to say. But I've been using it since November. Like I said, I used all of my products, so now I only use it when I go to the studio because that's when it's here. But I was taking it.
All going to start taking these products.
Right? But I've been telling you, right? Because when I met her, she told me she was having all these problems with her hair, and I was like, I don't know if you heard about this. It's new. It's the Miracle Elixir collection. I showed her pictures of you. I was like,
yes.
Isn't she stunning? I was like, look at her hair. Like, her hair is like, it goes on for like miles.
Yes. They're gonna make me blush here.
Your hair is like an additional person.
I know somebody opened a Twitter on the Twitter, the hair of Joyce. The hair of Joyce. And I was like, who is that? I have to follow them.
The hair of Joyce has its own Twitter account?
They made the Twitter thing.
You know what's coming next? Your own emoji. You
No.
just be a human
Sure,
hair.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, hair flip emoji.
Yes, so do it.
Sexy emojis, Lord. Copy is BS.
Do you have a list also, Joyce, we want to know, do you have a list of all your favorite, different designers and where you shop and things like that?
You know what? Well, you know what? I love so many different brands, but I'm not a brand. It's a bad word. I don't want to say it right now, but
a brand addict.
A brand addict. That's a good word. That's a good word. I'm not a brand addict. I like to go to the stores and whatever catches my eye. I even go to vintage stores and I get great stuff. So I'm not based on the brand. I go and whatever catches my eye that I love, that's what I get.
Nice. Well, it's such an honor to meet you.
Thank you.
I love your story, and I love the story about you and your husband. It was really touching today on Friday Feeling, and you really are what we desire all of us to be, which is authentic, beautiful inside and out, and just excited to try your products because they're all natural, organic, and that's the heart of the show.
They're the Miracle Elixir.
Right.
That says it all.
We're all about
Miracle.
Thank you. You guys are so sweet, and I'm sure that this show is going to just grow and grow and be super successful because you guys have amazing chemistry, and you're so sweet, and that's the most important thing.
Oh, thank you
so much.
You guys. So excited. Have a great weekend, you guys. We're going to come back here for Motivational Monday, and I know I've got all the motivation I need. I'm inspired. I'm going to go shopping. No, just kidding. So have a great weekend, you guys. We will see you on Monday, 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
It's going to be a
Bye,
good
guys.
morning, La La Land. Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are so excited because Lizzie is in the house. We were talking all things TV, Sound Kitten, mommyhood. Oh, my God,
Right?
girl, you make it
You've
look
been
good.
busy, and we look like we're matching. We did
We
not
are.
coordinate this,
One
but
night.
yes.
It's a white party this morning. You're clashing with us.
Yeah, I was not invited.
It's white and black. It's white and
I was
black.
not
Yeah.
invited.
Okay, you've been really busy. I mean, this list goes on and on and on of all the shows, all the everything. I'm like, what in the world are you up to, girl? Serious.
Well, let me just say, I resonate so much with the stuff that James was talking about.
Yeah.
And finding that balance and your passion and everything that you're doing. And, I was a very habitual person and a perfectionist at that. And what I found is that all the things that I'm doing on a daily basis, like with the company and with Mom, and then when I was filming the show, I got to a point where I just felt like it was just like too much happening, just getting like overheated on everything. And so what happened in the past year, it's actually been a very transformational year for me. The past 2 years have been because, I kind of had to pull on the brakes a little bit because I'm watching my little boys grow up, but I'm missing so much because I wanted to, have so much control of my company, and it is very challenging to be an entrepreneur because you're in charge of everything. And when it's great, it's great. And when it's bad, it's and I want to be at the manufacturing house overseeing the manufacturing. I want to sit with, I work with the pattern makers. I do all the designs, working with the sales reps, talking to the stores. I mean, it's just an overload at times. And then, being a mom, and my role model was my mother, who was 100% a mom. So, I never saw like a working mom around me. So I don't really know how that was juggled. I saw my father was a very successful man, And, you know, but he was, you know, the father, and he went off to work, and he worked, and he had his businesses. My mom was at home with the kids. And so I fight that inside of me of being, I should be home with the kids. I should be a mom. I should be here all the time. And then I'm like, when I stop, it's, oh, it's not enough. Like, I have a very entrepreneurial spirit inside of me. And I want to go. I want to create things. I want to build things.
It's such an important conversation because so many women are dealing with that right now. Because, you know, past generations were able to just be moms. Now we're expected to be the mom, the wife, the career woman, all of the above. And it's, for some of us, it's incredibly hard to balance. Right? And you don't feel like if you pull the brakes, you're going to still move forward.
A lot of pressure.
Right.
A lot of pressure.
We call it divine discontentment. And there's something like, there's a beauty in the discontentment because it's saying like, we need to rise up as women. How do we find that balance between being creative and having that desire that we want to create something and give it to the world, and yet that desire to be the best, you know, mom or whatever that is for us. And so what advice would you give to people?
Well, I think that I need some emotional hijacking.
Just rub off on, he rubs off on you.
You know, so many of the things that have happened in the past couple years, I've had to roll with the punches, and I've had to realize you can't take life that seriously. Like I have 2 little boys. I mean, there's, you know, we've got a lot of cuts and bruises and crying and fights. There's a lot of punches. You know,
breaking stuff.
A lot of things don't go as planned, and you know, I've had to relinquish that control and give it up to the universe. And I think there's major big power in prayer, and I talk to God every day, and He is, you know, my guiding light on every level. And you know, He tells me it's okay. It's okay to just breathe. And I think most of us moms, if we just need to breathe a little bit, like, we got this. You know, we're all doing the best that we can. And, you know, even if we want more, it's good to want more. It's good to want more, but it's okay to mess up. And I think that's, you know, I have lived in this prison of like people pleasing and so much fear in my life of messing up and doing the wrong thing. Oh, that's not going to be, you know, looked at well. And the past 2 years of my life have been great transformation for me, and it's been painful. Like, I've gone through like a lot of ups and downs, and it's just been, I know it's good for me because I'm growing so much as a woman and as a mother and as a person. So, you know,
so many people loved you on Real Housewives of Orange County, and I'm wondering, what did you learn about yourself in the process, watching it back and watching your life? What was your takeaway?
Well, I learned that I need thicker skin. But since then, you know, they cast me. I was 33 when they cast me, and I got a phone call from the director, not the director, the creator of the show. And then, you know, before I know it, these cameras are in my home, and so it wasn't something I planned out or thought about being on. But I think it's great. I have great gratitude for the show, and I have, you know, a lot of friends from the show and great experiences. But I did learn that I needed to thicken my skin, and I don't need to worry so much about pleasing everybody else. And you know, you gotta look out for yourself.
Absolutely.
You know.
When are you happiest?
When I'm with my kids, because it's just not about me. It's about them, and they just have like a total innocence of the world. You know, I'm also like frazzled when I'm with them and stressed out a lot of the times, but I'm happy with them because it's just, you know, their innocence to the world is just so, it's so pure, so special, you know?
It's funny you say that. When I was sort of a young adult, I remember being full of so much stress and anxiety. I would actually, I didn't know why, I would intentionally turn the cartoons on and let them play in the back because it would remind me of what it was like to be a child and to be innocent and to not take anything too seriously. It was very playful. You know? What have you learned from life, from your kids, in addition to sort of taking things a little less seriously?
I've learned that, you know, little eyes are watching. Little eyes are watching. And so I've learned that, you know, and as a mom and as a woman in general, it's kind of difficult sometimes to control our emotions. And when little eyes are watching, you know, should they see mommy cry? You know, should they see us when we're at our worst? Maybe not. I'm still trying to understand that, engage that, because I definitely want to raise young men who are in tune with their emotions, because I think that's a big epidemic for men in the world.
I would say from a psychology perspective, absolutely, you want them to see you at your worst when you're crying, when you're upset. You want them to see the entire spectrum of human emotion, and you want them also to see that you're able to work yourself back up that emotional scale.
Right.
My
So
son,
I love that you do that.
The comeback.
Totally. My son's 22, and I did not have the consciousness I have now, you know, and so he's seen me kind of go through it all, but also become a woman that I've always wanted to be. And I do think that the time in history, like, how do we as moms learn, because how do we do that? How do we do the dance of entrepreneurship and that? And you're, you know, sometimes we flail around, but at the same time, you're having success and you're questioning yourself, and it's so beautiful to witness. And I don't think we're supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to flail around, but I think it's important to have those conversations so they don't think it's just a, you know, this perfect thing that they never really learn about till they grow up. So I think it's great what you're doing. I think it's beautiful. I think you should really celebrate yourself.
And you make it look so good, little sun kitten. I mean,
little sun kitten.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your swimsuit line.
All right, so Sun Kitten I designed when I was pregnant with my first son, Preston, in San Diego. And it was something that I'd always wanted to do. I went to school for fashion design, and my dad had said, you have to get a college degree before you can move out to LA to be an actress.
My dad said the same.
Right? And, you know, I really wanted to be an actress. I grew up dancing, and I loved the stage, but, you know, it's a very tough business, and, you know, I wanted to be a mom, too, so. I ended up going back to design, and I was, you know, sitting there pregnant going, what can I do? I'm in San Diego, it's not LA anymore. So I started sketching, and then before I knew it, I had an entire collection, and I modeled my first line because I wanted to lose all the baby weight and get there. So, you know, from there, it just, then I had another baby. So then Sun Kitten, although it kept running, it kind of went on the back burner while I had my kids, and then I was cast on The Real Housewives. And then they, you know, they were really intrigued by Sun Kitten swimwear. So really had a revive, you know. So we like revived Sun Kitten and brought it back to all its glory, and it's done great things. I mean, I remember sitting on the couch during the Super Bowl, and I'm like, oh my God, that's my bikini! I got my bikini off the Mars Junior commercial. That was just such an awesome moment. And then, you know, doing the Miss USA 2015 and seeing all the contestants compete, and Sun Kitten, I designed them each for the show, and that was amazing feat for me because I competed in Miss USA years ago. So, you know, doing that was just a wonderful accomplishment, just personally for me. And the company has really grown, and, you know, this past year, like I said, it's just, I felt really overwhelmed with everything that was going on. So I kind of put it like over to the side a little bit and said, I'm going to focus a little bit more on family and raising my kids, because so much is happening, and I'm missing these milestones with my children. I'm missing so many things, and because you get, when you're a businesswoman, you get caught up and you're in this rat race, and you're like, what happened? You're 6? Like, what? And my oldest just turned 8. I'm like, how did that happen? He was 3 on the show, and
So where can people find your line?
Well, right now, everything on the website, sunkittenswimwear.com, is 50% off because we are revamping and getting ready for a new line, which will be next year, not out this summer. But so you can find us online, and we are also in stores all across the U.S. We have a list of stores on the website and out of the country as well.
Well, I need a new suit for, you know, every year. Like, if you have one really good new suit, it's like you're on. So it's
look and see what you like, and I'll send it to you.
For the summer for sure. So.
Well, thank you so much. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning LALALAND. I'm so excited to welcome to the show Miss Peggy Tanos. You may recognize her from Real Housewives of Beverly
Orange County. Everyone always thinks I'm from Beverly Hills, so it's so funny. I get that all the time, so it's okay.
Maybe you're going to be moving to Beverly Hills. You just don't know it yet. You know?
I don't think so, but you never know.
Well, I mean, you were born and raised Orange County, right?
I was, yeah.
Tell
I was one of the only, I think, housewives that are originally from Orange County. Like, they're all from either out of state or, like, maybe, you know, I think Tamara was from, like, San Bernardino, and they're all from different areas, but I'm, like, truly from Orange County.
So tell us about it, because I read some stats years ago, and I don't have the reference right now, but I heard that Orange County has one of the highest depression rates in the country.
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know that. I didn't know that, but I wouldn't doubt it. I know for me personally, I battled postpartum depression, and I have a lot of friends down there that are battling it. And it seems like, I think there's so much wealth down there, and there's so much competition, and so much people trying to keep up with the Joneses, or just trying to be something maybe they're not. And I think that leads to a lot of depression.
Was it like that from your early days as a child?
No, I was always a very happy, well-rounded kid. I'd like to say, everyone always says, you don't seem like you're from Orange County. I think my parents were smart. They kidnapped us, and our whole summer we spent in Utah. So I grew up, in jeans and riding horses, and, riding bareback and driving on dirt roads and going and getting frogs in the woods. And, so it was very, a lot of nature. And I think it was a good balance to have Orange County as the place I go to school, and but then I would escape off to the mountains.
So what did that look like for you? What was postpartum depression? What was that experience for you?
It was really tough. I wanted babies from the time I was like 21. I mean, I was that young girl that would, I always hold babies and always wanted babies. So when I was, a little bit older when I got married, and I had my first baby at 38. I'm dating myself, but it's the truth. And I had London, and I got pregnant, and I was so excited, and it was like, oh my God, this is, it's finally happening. And then about 7.5 months into the pregnancy, I had torn my ACL and my meniscus, and you can't do surgery because I'm pregnant. So I started getting depressed because I was very active while I was pregnant. I was doing Pilates and yoga and very active. And all of a sudden I'm like on crutches and laying, in bed or in the house, and I was going nuts. So then when I had her, I remember when they brought her to me, I was kind of freaked out. I was like, they hand you the baby, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And I thought that it would be more like, oh my God, my baby, I'm so happy. And I wasn't excited, which is heartbreaking because you want to be. And so then you think like, oh, it's probably just because I'm so exhausted, or, whatever, it's all my hormones. But 3-4 months into it, I was still I was getting angry when I'd have to feed her. I was always feeling like I never had enough. Like my husband would say, why don't you just take a break for the day? And he would hire a limo to come get me, and he would take me, send me off to the spa for the whole day. I'd have facial, massage, and everything possible, acupuncture, and I'd get lunch, and I'd come home and I'd be like, I just need a break. And he's like, oh my God, you were at the spa for 10 hours. Like, I don't understand. And I didn't see it because I was in it. And then it was my mother-in-law. She's a naturopath, and thank God. And so she sat me down and she said, you're not yourself. You're not the Peggy we used to know. You were always happy and easygoing and just vibrant, and you're sad and you're angry, and you're just not you. And she goes, I really think you have postpartum depression. So I went and saw my doctor, and they always want to put you on meds. And I'm against meds unless I absolutely need them. So I told the doctor, I said, I want to do this holistically if I can. And so my mother-in-law put me on a couple different things. I did 5-HTP, SAMe, L-theanine, and they worked. And I was very fortunate. So then it was a process. And so then I had my second daughter, and it was a whole different world. I mean, and I felt so much guilt because when they handed me Capri, I was like, oh my God, my baby. And I couldn't get enough of her. And so it was a completely different experience. And then I got on Housewives, and I got contacted by a girlfriend of mine, Tanya Newbold, and she's an actress. And she said, I'm involved in this documentary about postpartum depression, and I'd like you to be a part of it. So I asked Bravo if they'd film it, and they filmed me being interviewed for the documentary. Then the documentary was put on hold for a while because the star of it, Lindsay Gertz, she was going through it. She went through postpartum for 6 years. So she had a lot of things going on. They had to, kind of postpone it. So then years later, they came back. They did like a, where are you now type of interview, and it was just released last year.
Wow.
So,
we have a look. Let's take a peek.
Tanos, and I was originally born and raised in Orange County, which is kind of rare. I've wanted kids my whole life. So when I had London, I actually had a great pregnancy, and all of a sudden I have her, and they bring her over to me, and I'm like frozen. That's when the postpartum started. I've been suffering from postpartum depression for the last 3 years. Pretty much, I'd say from the day London was born. All of a sudden, I'm home with this baby, and I was like, I felt afraid. And I didn't think that would be a feeling a new mom would be afraid. I was having really dark days. I had this amazing daughter, this amazing husband, a beautiful house, a great lifestyle. And I'd wake up, and I just wouldn't want to get out of bed. I remember calling my older sister, And I said, I really need you to talk to me right now because I really feel like I could go upstairs and get the gun. You know, I never ever had a desire to injure my babies. Thank God. It was more about me. It was more like I should just take my own life. So I feel like we're in a really good place now. I mean, there's still, of course, days where I'd wake up and I didn't want to get out of bed. My best advice to women is, you know, that it will get better. It doesn't matter what you have or what your looks are. It can happen to anybody.
Such an important topic. So in your experience going through this, you know, obviously, how much do you think it is biochemical and hormonal versus just spiritually you feel like something you're not living in alignment with your truth?
I think it's both. I think it's probably more of the chemical and the hormones. But you know, there are studies out there that they say also with age, with older moms, it is more prevalent to be postpartum. But for me, I guess I feel thankful that I wanted to hurt myself and not my child. Mm-hmm. If you watch the documentary, which is available on Netflix, you'll see it goes from people like me that weren't, you know, that bad, and then it goes all the way to women that, I mean, there's one woman in the documentary that she killed her daughter, and she went to jail. And when she got out of jail, she felt like she was on the path of recovering, and then she ended up committing suicide.
Well, what's fascinating is thank you so much for sharing and being so vulnerable. And that's like, to say that on camera is, I can't imagine how many women go through that and they're too embarrassed. They would never say that. And so just really want to honor you for that. But I also honor the path that you didn't go to pharmaceuticals. And I think that everyone has their own right. Everyone, there's a time and a place for everything. And we know through Tom Cruise's like completely not okay, because if you haven't gone through that, you have no voice in it as far as I'm concerned. But I do believe that the natural way is the best way. And so tell us about that. How was that? How are all those processes for you?
I agree with you, and I've always been an advocate for, you know, I was kind of coined the girl on the show as the glam girl meets the granola girl, because I can have glam looks, but at heart I'm really that Utah girl that's just, you know, all about granola. And I didn't want to do meds, and I actually I did. I don't think I've ever admitted this, so you guys are getting the first take of it. I actually did at one point try meds for about 2 months, and I was out of my mind. I mean, I actually felt worse. So I went back to the holistic. For me, I still to this day get constant emails and, you know, messages on Instagram and everywhere else, you know, what can we do? And other women that are reaching out to me. I had a man that reached out to me, and this was probably the nicest thing, is he wanted to leave his wife because he thought that, you know, like she's turned into this nightmare. He didn't know she had that. And so by watching me on Housewives, he was like, oh my God, that's probably what she has. And I tell women all the time, first of all, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what's going to work for you. I would say go to your doctor, talk to your doctor about it. But there are a lot of things out there. I mean, I mentioned Sammy. 5-HTP is an amazing product. And for me, working out was a big thing too. And that's part of why I did my fitness DVD, because I felt like and still to this day, if I don't work out, I start to go cuckoo. Like I have to have that just to release that energy.
Well, and the reality is that women that are getting pregnant later, like it takes everything out of your body to have a baby. Yeah. And I mean, I was 22 when I had my stillborn and 23 when I had my son, and I was a disaster because it takes everything. So I can't imagine, you know, as we get older, you know, we don't have the same like vibrancy to just have that resources for that.
The patience.
Or the patience.
So many women that carry guilt and shame and are afraid to come out and tell their story and be vulnerable in a way that you have. How would you tell them to release that guilt and that shame and to forgive themselves?
I had that too, and I think because I signed on to do a reality show, and I came from the TV world, but I had never done reality. But once I was doing reality, it's like, okay, well, this is reality, so I should go out there and tell my story, because there probably are a lot of women out there that are feeling this. And I tell women still to this day, the best thing you can do is talk to somebody. And if it's not your husband, because sometimes that's too close to home and maybe he's not going to understand, then talk to a friend. If, you know, go to a therapist. I mean, do what it takes. My husband and I went to therapy. I went by myself. We went together. You know, we just had our 13-year wedding anniversary, so things are great. Thank you. And my daughter, my youngest, just turned 9, which I can't believe I have a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old, but it definitely, it's just, I think it's women need to, if they're not going to, you know, they don't have to go out there in the public and speak about it, but go to a support group, go, you know, find a friend you can trust, because you are going to have days where you don't want to get out of bed and you need somebody that can kind of lift you and help you get out of bed.
And when you do, try this DVD.
And then do the DVD, the Total Body Workout. Yeah, you can get it on PeggyTanos.com or on Amazon. And it's, the whole reason I did it is my daughters, we were filming an episode on Housewives where I was working with a trainer, and London kept coming in and jumping on me, and I was like, I should just use her as my weights. And so then I thought of the DVD. I'm like, all right, I'm going to start. So I came up with a DVD where you use the child as the weight and resistance. You can use a child that's 6 months old, put them in a carrier, all the way up to, you know, 5 or 6.
It's really actually brilliant and a great way for, as a new mom, to bond with your child, right?
Absolutely. It teaches kids the importance of fitness, which I think kids need to learn from the get-go. And there's also, at the end, I do a little segment of yoga. It teaches the kids yoga, how to calm themselves before bed.
I just love that. What would, you know, one of the things I've discovered in my own life is that the worst experiences in my life have often turned out to be the best experiences. There's these hidden blessings that don't unfold until years and years later. For you, were there any blessings or growth that came out of that experience for you? Sometimes for some people it's stronger relationships, or what would you say has been the greatest blessing that you've experienced from that very challenging experience?
I think helping other moms and even dads too. I mean, I think just helping people. I really, I've been talking to some of the producers with the documentary since it just came out, and we were talking about doing some kind of a support group. I just feel like, you know, Christy Teigen came out recently that she's gone through postpartum. Brooke Shields had it. There's a lot of people that have it, and I think if we can start some kind of a show or some kind of a, you know, network for it, I think it would be really beneficial, and that's what's probably the most rewarding, is just helping people.
I love that.
Making a difference.
I love that.
And the fact that I made it through alive, and and my kids are happy and my husband's happy, and you know, that's a blessing.
And you're saving the lives of other people and just sharing that story.
I hope. Yeah.
You really are.
Thank you so much. So where can people find all your work?
The documentary When the Bow Breaks, and ironically enough, there's a movie When the Bow Breaks. So you have to put in When the Bow Breaks documentary. It's on Netflix, and if you do have postpartum, they will come to you and they'll show the movie, whether it's at, you know, your local library or at a local theater. So we had a screening at Man's Chinese, but so that's When the Bow Breaks, and it's on Netflix. And then the Peggy Tanos Total Body Workout with your toddler. And you don't have to have a toddler. I have people that use it with their dog. I'm like, use it with your dog. You know, I just tell them if they don't have a kid, like use ankle weights, put on wrist weights, whatever. They can get that at PeggyTanos.com or on Amazon.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land.